The land upon which we gather is part of the traditional territory of the Lenni Lenape, called Lenape-Hoking. The Lenape people lived in harmony with one another upon this territory for thousands of years. During the colonial era and early federal period, many were removed west and north, but some also remain among the continuing historical tribal communities of the region. The Nanticoke, Lenni Lenape Tribal Nation, the Ramapo Lenape Nation, and the Powhatan, the Lenape Nation. The Nanticoke of Millsboro, Delaware, and the Lenape of Cheswold, Delaware. We acknowledge the Lenni Lenape as the original people of this land and their continuing relationship with their territory. In our acknowledgement of the continued presence of Lenape people in their homeland, we affirm the aspiration of the great Lenape chief, Tamanen, that there be harmony between the indigenous people of this land and the descendants of the immigrants to this land, as long as the rivers and creeks flow and the sun, moon, and stars shine. That comes from the official Lenape website and how they wish to be acknowledged in every organization on their land, in every event. Today we gather here to protest ICE, to call an end to ICE, to detainment, to displacement, and the history of ethnic cleansing and the current genocide on this land. That's right. We have speakers from the community today, specifically the Brooklyn community, here to talk with you, to you, and invite you to organize, to self-organize, and to inspire your neighbors and your community to organize within your blocks, in your districts.
My name is Tomas. I'm with the New York City Berets. I want to thank everyone again for making it out today. Today, we are standing here in solidarity with other folks as well in other boroughs. So at the same time that we're having this rally, the Bronx is having their rally and Queens is having theirs as well for the exact same message. The government's inactions has brought terror and fear into the lives of all undocumented immigrants in New York City. New York City does not have a right to call itself a sanctuary city when folks are still fearful to go into the streets, to go to their jobs. They're still living in fear. Folks are still living in fear, and that did not change when we got a new president. That stayed the same.
That's right.
If you guys look at the banner, the yellow banner, the number at the bottom, at this moment, we're reaching far past a lot of the previous numbers we have been keeping up. When Biden was first elected, the first month, there were over 21,000 deportations that month. The following month, that rose to over 100,000. It's been 6 months. It's been about 6 months since January 20th, the day that he got inaugurated, and we're reaching 600,000 deportations. Again, this did not change with the administration. We are living in a racist system that is purposely finding these undocumented immigrants and deporting them. A lot of times not even to their own countries. If you look at the numbers, the overwhelming amount of folks that are getting deported are from Haiti. And that's insane, because what we're seeing in the media is not that. What we're seeing is that a lot of the folks that are getting deported are either look like me, are either of Mexican descent or from South America, and that's simply not the case. Which goes to show that all our issues are intersectional. We're here because the issues that impact me impact you in some way. They're all intertwined.
I'm going to introduce Hamaya. Hamaya, come on up. Excuse me, I'm correcting myself. Nehemiah.
All power to the people!
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 Thank you all so much for coming out today. So let me tell y'all something. Recently, I've been real down. very, very down. I am Haitian, so a little bit back my background. I was born in the Bahamas. My dad left for the States when I was 1. My mom left when I was 3. Left me with the grandparents, and I came to the States at 5 years old. My people left that country for a better day. And right now, for the longest time, I cannot find it, I cannot see it. But today, seeing all you are here gives me more hope, gives me more courage. So as you all know, the Haitian recent president/dictator was assassinated. This speaks to the long history of U.S. and international imperialism on my country's island. State sanctioned violence anywhere is state sanctioned violence everywhere. And it is our duty to continue to stop that, whether it's in Brooklyn, in Brazil, in Colombia, in Honduras, or in Haiti. Our ties, our fates are tied together. And it is through that continued solidarity, that continued collaboration, we must be co-conspirators, not allies. Our fates are tied together. And so today I want to say, please continue that revolutionary spirit. Do not retreat, do not compromise. No reforms. Any reform is short of revolution. Anything short of revolution is insufficient. No reform. Any reform is short of revolution, and anything short of revolution is insufficient. So please do not let them tell you what is not possible. Do not let them tell you that you're thinking too big. Do not let them tell you that now is not the time. It's been the time. And it's our time now. Every generation has had their time to make their mark. Every people has. No one is, our values are tied together, our fates are tied together, which means that when our spirits come together, we are our strongest. So please continue to struggle, continue to collaborate, continue to dream, and continue to be revolutionary. Because anything short is insufficient. All power to the people!
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 Thank y'all so much. Please continue to be revolutionary.
All right, thank you. Our next speaker is Isabel.
So I'm gonna start by teaching y'all something about my culture. I'm Haitian, so I'm gonna say honneur. You guys say respect. Honneur. 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 Okay. I don't really like to talk in front of people, so bear with me, everyone. So before I start, I'm gonna start by taking a moment of silence for all those in Haiti who's been affected by the current political and social climate. As you guys know, this past week, our president was assassinated in his own home. And this is the 21st century, guys. The 21st century. He was assassinated in his own home. So we're going to take a moment of silence for those who've been kidnapped, raped, and affected by the current insecurity back home. All right, so when we talk about deportation in the United States or in Haiti, the first thing that people think about is either Mexicans or Latinos. But the truth is, a lot of other nations and communities are also affected by deportation. So we also have Haitians, Africans, Caribbean, etc. The first time I came across deportation, or the concept of deportation, was when I was in Haiti. I remember I was 7-year-old, and my brain couldn't process the fact that this man was in the middle of the street screaming in a foreign language, and he had no home, no family, no sense of the Haitian culture. He did not speak Creole. He did not speak English. He did not speak French. He did not understand anything. He was just sent back home after being in the United States for 47 years, where his family lived, where his sons lived, where his wife was. He was stripped away from his own. I was 7. Later on, last year, December, I went back home, and this young 14-year-old Haitian guy was traveling with his brother, and he was put in an isolation camp because some issues with his papers. All of these people are brothers, sons, fathers, husbands that are being stripped away from their family. not only their family, but the only country that they ever known, and sent to unknown land, all because of a simple piece of paper. When I talk about this topic, I'm talking about kids who are being separated from their families and put into homes because their parents aren't legal citizens. I'm talking about parents having anchored babies and hope that they will escape their current situations back home, but instead being separated from their newborns. I'm talking about humans like me and you. We all know that Black and brown people are not respected in the society, and that's even legal American citizens. Imagine if you're not legal. Now imagine those brothers and sisters living all they know, their country, so that their kids can have a better future, to come and live this American dream that they continue to chase but ends up in a nightmare. We're talking about women whose voices are being silenced while their reproductive rights are being stripped away from them. We're talking about kids being traumatized and families being ripped apart. We're talking about people being dumped in a country where they don't belong or they don't fit in. We're talking about humans, and that's all I have to say.
I want to hold space for a fellow comrade and activist who couldn't be here today. Her name is Iman Leclerc, and her organization is Trans Acilius, and she works to find refugees, specifically trans refugees, a safe place to stay. And that can be in any country, honestly. Through her experience with Trans Acilius, the country that she finds is easiest to place trans refugees is France. And I bring that up specifically because the U.S. called itself, or not the U.S., but New York called itself an asylum state. A place for refugees, and that's just not what we see. That's not what we see in our communities, and it's a shame.
Buenas.
Hola.
I just woke up like 20 minutes ago because we stayed until 7 making these banners. Shout out to the artists. Shout out to everyone who's here. Esenciales. Esenciales. All right, I want to shout out everybody who made history happen a couple months ago in the historic Fund Excluded Workers campaign. The people that were here to make that happen. Thank you for that. Raise your hand if you know or you lost your job during the pandemic, or hours. Do you know people who lost work? Raise your hand if you know people who lost work. Raise your hand if you were able to have the privilege of getting unemployment from the state. Do you know people who didn't get unemployment? Do you have neighbors who were not eligible or were excluded? So what did that mean? When you lost work, when everything around you started shutting down, but you don't have an option, you don't have money coming to you to survive? Thousands of essential but excluded workers had no other choice but to go out and get sick, right? Yep. Whose fault is that? That's the fault of the state. Is it fair that undocumented immigrants pay billions into a system that they can't access? Yes or no?
No. Shame.
Is it fair that we live in the state with the most billionaires in the world, but undocumented immigrants pay more in taxes?
No.
Is it fair?
No.
Están medio dormiditos. I don't need to tell you that undocumented people deserve a break or deserve money to survive. But last year, when the pandemic hit, hundreds of groups across the state, farm workers upstate, construction workers in Westchester, restaurant workers here in New York, they had no choice. I had people saying to me, I can make calls to my legislators from inside my house, but I'm dead at home anyways because I have to get on that bus. I already got COVID, my whole family got COVID, so we gotta fight in the streets. So we launched the Fund Excluded Workers Coalition, and we pulled off quite a bit. So I'm gonna tell you what we did, and after each statement, y'all can say si se pudo, okay?
Yeah, fire.
All right? 100 immigrants and their babies occupied the land outside of Jeff Bezos' home. Se pudo?
Si se pudo.
We shut down 2 bridges and held a moment of silence for the people that we lost. Se pudo?
Si se pudo.
We launched a 23-day hunger strike led by single mothers, immigrant mothers who put their bodies on the line to demand unemployment for undocumented immigrants. Se pudo?
Si
And we won the first ever in the country excluded workers fund, $2.1 billion.
That's right.
Let me tell you what that means, and then Diego's gonna hand out some flyers. It is really important. This isn't just a flyer that I want you to like fold up, keep in your pocket, and put somewhere in your room. You need to put this on your fridge, and let me tell you why. All right? Can I see your hands if you're gonna commit to put it on the fridge? All right, okay. So this is the first time in the country that unemployment benefits, back pay, not charity, we said we already paid in the system, we're reclaiming what's ours, can be given to undocumented immigrants. If you have someone in your life that didn't get unemployment because of their status, they could be eligible for a $3,200 check or a $15,600 check. Y'all know what that means. You all know what $15,000 could mean for the people in our community. Sometimes that's what people make in a year, okay? Applications come out in a month, and I really need you to listen to this. You need a computer to do it. Do you think that restaurant workers, construction workers, and farm workers have access to computers everywhere?
No, they don't.
You think that their bosses are gonna give them time off to go find help or take the application?
Nope, they're not.
No, right? The state will not do a single in-person application for the fund. So if you have time, if you have a computer, if you are invested in mutual aid, and if you have a couple hours to sit down with a neighbor who's undocumented and help them get this benefit, it could change their life. It could make the difference, a couple documents between $3,200 and $15,600. So if you're ready to commit to help our undocumented community across the state, apply for this benefit that we put our bodies on the line for, risked arrest for, didn't sleep and eat for. Will you raise your hand? ¿Se puede?
Sí se puede.
Thank you, everybody.
Before we call the next speaker, I wanted to give two shout outs to an artist and someone who, as well as someone who has a local small business. So the first is Adan. Please give a round of applause to Adan because he creates a lot of the banners we have here, but also a lot of the banners that we're seeing in the Bronx and in Queens, and he takes a lot of time out of his day to make sure that these are created by the day that we have the action. And the second big shout out is to, I know you folks have seen these shirts around, and that's to Jackie. Jackie started what's called My Revolution, which you can find on IG as at My Revolution. And 15% of all that she gets from the shirts, she gives back to nonprofits that are helping, nonprofits as well as organizations that are not necessarily nonprofits, that help with legal and kind of immigration resources for the community. So please give also a quick round of applause for Jackie, because she makes sure that we're always at least carrying around the message is really important. And make sure to support all your local small businesses, because we got to support each other or no one else will. And so the next speaker is Jessica.
Hi, my name is Jessica Sue, and I'm a daughter of immigrants. I do not have the right to stand here and tell you about the immigrant experience in America, but I have seen firsthand how hard immigrants have worked for a sense of belonging in this country. America has gone and dismantled stability in many countries. They have gone and funded destabilizing genocidal wars to then shame many that come and seek stability. America is believed to be the place many come to find stability, a roof over their heads, food on their plates, and safety from American-funded wars. As a child of immigrants, I saw firsthand how hardworking my parents had to be and the struggle they left in their home country. They knew that they had to work 10 times harder to feel a sense of belonging in this country. Our parents and many other immigrants are just some of the many elements that make America thrive. Immigrants build America brick by brick despite receiving harassment instead of credit and praise. Immigrants are not disposable. Immigrants are not here for you to exploit until you don't need them. We must open our eyes and demand an end to the inhumane conditions that they are subjected to. To demand the end of ICE, we cannot justify what the government is doing based on their legal status, and it is not only dehumanizing, but we know that the process can take years or even decades, which many of them don't have. They are targeted not because they pose a danger, but because of racism, because of sexism, because of homophobia, because of xenophobia, and because of transphobia. Immigrants come from different backgrounds and is not a monolith of one background and one ethnicity, and that deportation and ICE is a collective issue. Our country is built by immigrants, by different experiences, by different community knowledges. We cannot allow the system to erase the oppression of one, to give the illusion that another is able to have the privileges to live in America comfortably. To continue to pit us against one another, when in reality we are being stomped on by the same oppressor. We have to unlearn our colonized minds and to learn the history of our oppression, because when we refuse to learn that we are not all in favored by the white system, we will not learn that we have the power to fight back.
Un pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be defeated. 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 People united will never be defeated. The 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 people united will never be defeated. That are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Black lives that are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Brown lives that are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Brown lives are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. 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 When black women are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When black trans are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When black immigrants are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. From Palestine to Mexico, all the walls have got to go. Palestine to Mexico, all the walls have got to go. Palestine to Mexico, all the walls have got to go. Palestine to Mexico, all the walls have got to go. Palestine to Mexico, all the walls have got to go. Palestine to Mexico, all the walls have got to go. Palestine to Mexico, all to Mexico. All the walls have got to go. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. When do we want justice? When do we want it? Now. We don't get it. Right now. Immigrants don't get it. Right now. Immigrants don't get it. Right now. We don't get it. Right now. We're gonna burn it all down. We're gonna burn it all down. Hidey, hidey, ho. Hidey, 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 ho. Racist ice has got to go. Racist ice has got to go. If we don't get no justice now. If we don't get no justice now. We're gonna burn it all down. We're gonna burn it all down. We're gonna burn ice 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 down. We're gonna burn it to the ground. We're gonna burn it to the ground. We're gonna burn it all down. We're gonna burn it all down. Every town, no border, no nation, stop the deportation. 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 No nation, stop the deportation. No border, no nation, stop the deportation. No border, no nation, stop the deportation. No border, no nation, stop the deportation. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. Acknowledge U.S. genocide. Acknowledge U.S. genocide. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. Biden, Biden, you can't hide. Acknowledge U.S. genocide! Biden, Biden, you can't hide! Acknowledge U.S. genocide!
Shilling, that's a racist name, Shilling.
You look racist as fuck. How you spell murderer? M-Y-P-E. How you spell anti-immigrant? M-Y-P-E. How you spell anti-immigrant? M-Y-P-E. Yo, how you spell racist? M-Y-P-E. How you spell racist? M-Y-P-E. How you spell murderer? Viva, viva deliveristas! 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 Eladio Guzmán! Eladio Guzmán! Eladio Guzmán! Eladio Guzmán! Eladio Guzmán! Eladio Guzmán! Community! Fuck the pigs! No more gas in cages! Fuck the pigs! No more ice in our community! Fuck the pigs! No more gas in cages! Fuck the pigs! No more cops in our community! Fuck the pigs! No more comrades in jail! Fuck the pigs! No more cops in our community! Fuck the pigs! Free them all from their cells! Fuck the pigs! No more cops in our community! Fuck the pigs! No more cops in jail! Fuck the pigs! No more ice in our community! Fuck the pigs! No more gas in cages! Fuck the pigs! No more ice in our communities! Close the camps! No more gas in cages! Close the camps! No more ice in our communities! Close the camps! No more gas in cages! Close the camps! No more ice in our communities! Close the camps! No more gas in cages! Close the camps! No more ice in our communities! Close the camps! No more gas in cages! Close the camps! Freedom all from this cell! Close the camps! Freedom all from this cell! Close the camps! No more cops in our communities! Close the camps! No more comrades in jail! Close the camps! No more cops in our communities! Close the camps! No more comrades in jail! Close the camps! Revolution is love! Close the camps! No more cops in our communities! Close the camps! Liberate our people! Close the camps! Liberate our people! Close the camps! No more kids in cages! Close the camps! No more ice in our communities! Close the camps! No more kids in cages! Close the camps! Freedom all from this day! Close the camps! Freedom all from this day!